Okay, so you can see we have Freya out of the bath here, and she's all fluff dried. I haven't filmed the drying because it's quite noisy, so you wouldn't hear me anyway. So I have dried her. If you're going to use a home hair dryer, just a normal one like this sort of thing, just be careful. Some of them have very hot settings on them, which can be, you know, much too hot for the dog. So if you are using one of those, if you've got a cooler setting, then put it onto your cooler setting. If you're going to use quite a hot setting, when you're drying the dog, so we can pretend this is switched on, when you're drying your dog, always keep your hand like this in front of all the parts of the dog that you're drying. So keep the dryer moving constantly. If you keep it in one place, it's going to get very hot very quickly. So keep it moving, keep coming back to different areas all the time. Keep your hand there. So if it's starting to burn your hand, then it's burning the dog. So you know that you need to keep this moving, or you need to turn it down. Okay, so keep it like that the whole time, particularly when you're doing sensitive areas like around the ears and things like that. You need to really make sure that your hands are there the whole time, so that you know that you're not burning the dog's skin. Okay, so what you can see with Freya, before I clip her, I've got a little lead around her neck. If you have something like a table like this with a bar over the top, you can hook it up to, or maybe if you're standing your dog on a kitchen worktop somewhere that if you can elevate them onto a kitchen worktop, perhaps on a car mat or a bit of carpet or something that's going to stop them from slipping and scratching the surfaces, I would recommend doing that. If you're trying to do them on the floor, not only is it difficult for your back, but you're chasing them around on the floor, you're going to find it much harder to clip the average dog doing it like that. So once the dog is up on somewhere, they tend to be a little bit more nervous and they tend to stay more still for you. If you can, try and hook them up to something, perhaps tie them to a cupboard door or something like that if you can. The only thing I would say is if you're going to tie them up, don't ever be tempted to walk off and leave them to go and answer the door or anything like that. Even for a few seconds, the minute you walk off, your dog is likely to jump off and follow you, and you can run the risk of them strangling themselves or pulling a table down on themselves or something. So if you have to walk away, then take the dog with you or get somebody to stay with them until you come back. But if you can do that, then it just gives you two hands again to work on the dog, rather than trying to hold the dog with one and clip with the other. Okay, so she's all bathed and fluff dried, so I'm going to start working on some clipper work now with her back. These clippers I have here are the Osculap clippers, and they are professional dog grooming clippers, so they are quite pricey. You can get much cheaper ones on the market. These are ones that I've used when I've been clipping all day long, but if you're going to be just doing your own dog once every 8 weeks, you're probably not going to need anything quite as pricey as these. So you can find, there's plenty online that you can buy at a much more reasonable price. Just do a little bit of research. I wouldn't go too cheap, particularly if you have a very thick coat. Some of the cheaper ones are going to struggle with a really thick coat, so it just depends again on your dog. Somewhere sort of averagely priced, I would say. It's going to save you in the long run if you're not going to a groomer every 8 weeks, so you'll get your money back in the long term. So with Freya here, I would normally start, sit down, darling, come here. I would normally start clipping on the head, good girl, over the head, and so we would take the clippers, and with mine I have a number 5 blade on here, but again it depends which clippers you have, what sort of blade, so you're going to have to try around a little bit with the length that you want. Perhaps you could try it behind the ear first just to see how short it is, somewhere where it's not really going to show, or under the skirt or something like that perhaps. Some of them have comb attachments, like a little bit like these, so if you want to leave the dog a bit longer, you can put these comb attachments on and it will leave the coat much longer. If you're going to do that, you need to make sure the coat is thoroughly brushed